The first star vanished without a sound. Commander Alara Vance noticed because she was trained to notice absences. On the tactical display above Astra's fall, one of the outer sensor beacons blinked once, then dissolved into static. No explosion. No debris cloud. Just an empty coordinate where something had existed seconds earlier. "Confirm loss," she said. Her voice carried cleanly across the operations deck. Calm voices prevented panic. Panic spread faster than vacuum. Lieutenant Harrow leaned closer to his console. "Beacon 7 is gone, Commander. No energy spike. No residual radiation." Alara exhaled through her nose. "Precision, then." She folded her hands behind her back and looked at the star map. One beacon could be an accident. Two would be intent. A second light vanished. Then a third. A low murmur spread through the room. Officers exchanged glances, the kind people shared when they already knew the answer but hoped someone else would say it first. "Zoom out," Alara ordered. The projection widened. Red indicators bloomed at the system's edge, sleek, angular signatures forming a perfect arc. Not rushing. Not hiding. Just arriving, exactly where they wanted to be. "Velker Dominion," Harrow said. "Full battle group. At least 30 capital ships." Someone swore quietly. Alara didn't. She'd seen Velker formations before, back when she wore an official uniform and had backup that mattered. Their doctrine prized spectacle. Fear saved ammunition. Encirclement was never rushed, it was displayed. "Encirclement trajectory?" she asked. "Completing now," Harrow replied. "They've cut long-range comms." Alara nodded once. "Time to full blockade?" 8 minutes. 8 minutes to accept what the compact already had. She turned toward the diplomatic console. The screen flickered, then resolved into the seal of the Galactic Compact, golden, elaborate, distant. A bureaucrat's face appeared, scaled and expressionless. "Commander Vance," the official said. "Your transmission has been reviewed." Alara already knew the phrasing. Reviewed meant rejected. "Astra's fall is a registered human colony," she said evenly. "We are under direct military threat." "The system is classified as non-essential," the official replied. "Intervention would provoke. Intervention would save 1.2 million civilians." A pause. Not hesitation. Calculation. "The compact will issue a formal condemnation," the bureaucrat said. "Evacuation is advised." "Evacuation to where?" Alara asked. "They're sealing the lanes." The screen went dark. Around her, the operations deck felt smaller. The air recyclers hummed. A colony's worth of lives continued their routines below, unaware that their names had just been weighed and found inconvenient. "Commander," Harrow said quietly, "Velker broadcast incoming." Alara straightened. "Put it through." The hologram shifted. The image that replaced it was carefully framed. High Executor Zyr stood at the center, his chitinous armor polished, his mandibles relaxed in a practiced approximation of a smile. "Citizens of Astra's fall," he said, his voice resonant and amplified. "I regret the necessity of this interruption." Alara recognized the cadence. Velker officers rehearsed their cruelty. "You occupy a system claimed by the Dominion," Zyr continued. "Resistance is inefficient. Surrender your leadership, and your people will be reassigned. Cooperation ensures survival." A murmur rippled through the deck. Zyr gaze shifted, focusing. "Commander Alara Vance. Former human naval tactician. You stayed when others fled." "I stayed because someone had to," Alara replied. "Admirable," Zyr said. "And futile. Your allies are absent. The compact is silent. Humanity is elsewhere." He let the word linger. "You have 72 hours, he finished. "After that, I lose interest." The transmission cut. Silence followed, thick and heavy. No one spoke until Captain Reyes of the colony militia broke it. "We can't fight that," he said. "We don't even have planetary guns." "We can delay," Ilera replied. "Delay buys time." "For what?" Reyes demanded. Ilera met his eyes. "For order. For evacuation shelters. For making every minute cost them something." "And help?" he asked. "Is anyone coming?" She didn't answer immediately. Leaders didn't sell lies, but they didn't crush hope without reason either. "Man your stations," she said instead. "We're on siege footing." The deck came alive. Orders flowed. Systems rerouted. Outside, the stars continued to disappear as Velker ships completed their ring. Hours later, with the colony sealed and defenses stretched thin, Ilera stood alone at a private terminal. The interface before her was stripped of insignia, stripped of reassurance. Just a single prompt, blinking. "Send distress signal?" She hesitated. The address was flagged in red. Black Reserve. A channel she'd been told never to use unless the situation was already lost. Ilera's jaw tightened. Lost was a matter of timing. She typed the authorization code manually. The system hesitated, then accepted it. The signal vanished into the void, routed through dead relays and forgotten protocols. No confirmation returned. No promise. Behind her, Astra's fall braced itself. Out beyond the system's edge, the Velker waited, certain of the ending. And the void remained silent. The siege began without drama. Velker ships did not rain fire or announce glory. They adjusted orbit by fractions, aligning weapons with infrastructure nodes rather than population centers. Power stations dimmed. Orbital elevators locked mid-ascent. Freight docks went dark in sequence, each failure precise enough to feel intentional. "They're pacing it," Lieutenant Harrow said. "Taking systems, not lives." Ilera watched the damage reports scroll. "They want us tired, not dead." Astra's fall adapted quickly. Emergency grids activated. Hospitals switched to internal reactors. Trams stopped running, but shelters filled in disciplined waves. Fear moved through the city, yet it didn't fracture. Not yet. Then the broadcasts started. ZYR Arcatha's image returned, larger this time, projected onto public channels and command screens alike. He spoke softly, almost conversationally. "Your medical quarter will lose auxiliary power in 6 hours, he announced. "Your atmospheric processors in 9. This is not punishment. This is arithmetic." Reyes slammed a fist against the console. "He's counting us down." "He's educating us," Ilera replied. "He wants surrender to feel logical." The next strike disabled a water reclamation plant. No explosions. Just failure. Repair crews rushed out, only to find their tools useless against weapons designed to cripple, not destroy. Civilian channels filled with questions. "Commander," a technician said over comms, voice tight, "people are asking if help is coming." Ilera closed her eyes briefly. "Tell them to stay sheltered. Tell them we're holding." That's not an answer. It's the only honest one. ZYR Arcath appeared again 3 hours later. This time, he smiled. "Still no response from your allies?" he asked. Curious. Humanity speaks loudly in councils, yet vanishes when tested. Ilera stepped forward, her image replacing the colony emblem. "If you have something to say, say it." "I already have," ZYR Arcath replied. "I am saying it slowly." Behind him, Velker officers lounged at their stations, relaxed, unhurried. They believed time belonged to them. The first riots broke out near the southern shelter ring. Food lines stretched longer. Children cried. Ilera authorized ration adjustments and redeployed militia units to crowd control instead of perimeter defense. "You're thinning our lines," Reyes warned. "I'm preventing collapse," she said. "A panicked city falls faster than a breached wall." deep space sensors flickered briefly at the edge of detection. A single spike, gone before the system could log it. Harrow frowned. Probably interference from their drives. Probably, Ilara agreed, though she logged the anomaly herself. HFY grew bored. He began projecting casualty simulations, clean visuals, color-coded losses, timelines scrolling beside them. He narrated with academic detachment, explaining how long it would take before hunger forced mistakes, before mistakes became massacres. "Turn it off," Reyes muttered. Ilara didn't. Let him talk. Every second he spends speaking is a second he's not firing. By the second day, Astra's fall was exhausted. Repairs lagged. Air grew stale in lower sectors. Yet still, the Velker held back. "They're waiting," Harrow said. "For us to beg." Ilara studied the enemy fleet. Their formation hadn't changed. Confidence radiated from the geometry of it. "Prepare counterfire," she ordered. Reyes stared. "With what?" "With everything," she said. "Target their outer pickets. Make noise." The colony's meager defenses flared to life. Rail cannons spat tungsten into the void. Missiles streaked outward, easily intercepted, but forcing the Velker to react. HFY responded instantly. "That was unwise," he said, amusement gone. "You have achieved nothing." Ilara met his gaze. "I've achieved proof." "Of what?" "That you're paying attention." The Velker flagship shifted position. Not retreating. Repositioning. Sensors spiked again. Stronger this time. Then silence. Harrow's fingers flew. "Commander, something's wrong with deep-range telemetry." "It's like space just blinked." Before Ilara could respond, HFY's broadcast caught mid-sentence. His image froze, distorted by static. For 3 seconds, the system was quiet. Then Velker channels erupted with overlapping chatter. Orders snapped. Formations tightened. Weapons powered up across the fleet. HFY's image returned, rigid now. "All ships, defensive posture. Scan the void." Ilara felt it then, not hope, not certainty, but tension. The kind that came before impact. "What changed?" Reyes asked. Ilara didn't look away from the stars. They stopped being bored. Outside, the void remained empty. But for the first time since the siege began, the Velker were no longer smiling. The void screamed. Not with sound, space did not allow that, but with distortion so violent that every sensor on Astra's fall overloaded at once. Readouts spiked, collapsed, then rebooted into error states Ilara had never seen. Gravity vectors bent inward. Starlight smeared like wet paint across the tactical display. "What is that?" Harrow whispered. Ilara felt it in her bones, a pressure behind the eyes, a sensation like standing too close to a massive engine. Something entering without asking permission. Across the system, Velker ships lurched as their formation destabilized. Shields flared instinctively. Weapons charged in confused waves. Then space tore. It did not open. It fractured, a jagged seam ripping across the dark. From it emerged a silhouette so dense the sensors refused to assign mass. Hull plating layered like overlapping scars. No decorative spines. No intimidation flourishes. Just structure, purpose, and heat bleeding off the surface in controlled sheets. A single ship. Reyes stared. That's all?" The warship completed translation and did not maneuver. It simply existed, engines idling, gravity well pressing outward like a warning. Velker channels exploded with panic. "Flagship to all units, identify contact." "Mass readings impossible." "Weapons not locking, what is that field?" HFY appeared on the main screen, mandibles tight, composure strained. "Unknown vessel, state your allegiance." The reply came instantly, transmitted on every known frequency, carried by a voice devoid of ornament. "This is human warship HNS Retribution," the voice said. "You are operating inside a human-protected system." Silence followed. Heavy. Absolute. ZYR recovered first. He laughed, sharp and dismissive. "One ship," he said. "You arrive late and alone." The human voice did not rise. "We arrived on time." ZYR gestured, and Velker cannons flared. Energy lanced across space, converging on the warship in a blinding storm. The Retribution did not evade. Impacts rippled across its shields, warping light, bending trajectories inward. The beams curved, dragged off course, spiraling uselessly into nothing. Harrow's hands shook. "They're not blocking it. They're owning gravity." "Fire solution," ZYR barked. The human ship responded with one action. A pulse rolled outward, invisible but catastrophic. Space itself compressed, then snapped back. The nearest Velker cruiser folded along its own axis, armor collapsing inward as if crushed by an unseen fist. It vanished in a bloom of debris and silent fire. No follow-up. No flourish. Just absence. The Velker fleet broke formation. "Human vessel," ZYR said, voice tight now, "this aggression violates." "You began a siege," the human replied. "You threatened civilians. You ignored a distress call." Another pulse. Two more Velker ships lost structural integrity, hulls tearing as internal gravity generators overloaded. Escape pods scattered like sparks. ZYR stared, disbelief bleeding into fear. "This is disproportionate force. This is restraint," the human voice said. "You are being given time to leave." The Retribution advanced then, slow and deliberate. Each movement bent space ahead of it, warping targeting solutions, collapsing enemy coordination. Velker weapons malfunctioned, firing wide or not at all. Elara leaned forward, breath shallow. She recognized the doctrine now. No fleet. No drawn-out engagement. One overwhelming presence, engineered to end fights before they began. "Commander," Harrow said softly, "compact channels are lighting up." Elara ignored them. ZYR flagship attempted to flee. Engines flared, drives screaming as it tried to punch a hole through the blockade it had created. The human ship adjusted orientation by a single degree. A final pulse struck the flagship's drive core. Not enough to destroy it. Enough to stop it. The Velker armada scattered, surviving vessels fleeing in disarray, breaking orbit, abandoning the system they had claimed with such confidence. Minutes later, the void was empty again. The Retribution held position, silent guardian against the stars. A private channel opened on Elara's console. "Commander Vance," the human voice said, "closer now, warmer. We received your signal." Elara swallowed. "You took your time." A pause. Not hesitation. Consideration. "We do not arrive early," the voice replied. "We arrive when it matters." She looked out over Astra's fall, systems stabilizing, lights returning sector by sector. Below, a city exhaled, unaware of how close it had come to ending. "Thank you," she said. The channel closed. Beyond the colony, the human warship remained, engines steady, watching the dark, proof that silence did not mean abandonment, and that when humanity answered, it did not whisper. Astra's fall did not celebrate immediately. The first thing that returned was air pressure, equalizing through conduits that had been shut for days. Lights followed, sector by sector, a measured glow rather than a triumphant flare. Emergency sirens powered down. Medical stations reported stable power. The city didn't cheer, it breathed. Commander Elara Vance stood on the observation deck, hands resting on the rail, watching the human warship hold position beyond the orbital line. The Retribution did not drift, did not patrol, did not posture. It waited, engines humming at a level too low to be heard, too controlled to be accidental. Reyes joined her, helmet under his arm. "People are asking if it's staying." "For now," Elara said. "Long enough to be certain." As if summoned by the thought, the Compact's insignia appeared on her console. Multiple channels. Priority tags stacked like apologies. She accepted one. "Commander Vance," the bureaucrat said, tone hurried now. "The Compact wishes to express." "No," Elara replied. "You wish to explain." A pause. The official adjusted posture. The situation escalated beyond projections. "You classified us as non-essential. That designation is under review." Elara glanced at the warship outside. "So is your credibility." She closed the channel without waiting for response. Words spread through the colony in fragments. The Valkyr had retreated. The blockade was gone. No occupation. No surrender. People emerged cautiously from shelters, eyes lifting toward the sky where death had waited only hours earlier. Children asked questions adults couldn't yet answer. In the infirmary wing, Elara stopped beside a woman clutching a bandaged arm. "Is it over?" the woman asked. Elara met her gaze. "Yes." The woman nodded, accepting the word as truth rather than comfort. Back on the operations deck, Hera was fielding reports. "Long-range scans are clear. No pursuit signatures. Valkyr jump traces are chaotic, full retreat." "And the retribution?" Elara asked. Hera hesitated. "They're requesting a secure channel. Command level." Elara straightened. "Put it through." The projection resolved into a human face this time, older than she'd expected. The officer wore no visible rank insignia, just a dark uniform marked by wear rather than decoration. "Commander Vance," he said. "Captain Hale. HNS Retribution." "Captain," Elara replied. "You came a long way." Hale nodded once. "That channel doesn't get used often." "I didn't expect an answer." "We didn't expect to be needed," Hale said. "But your signal carried the right markers. Civilian population. Active siege. Compact refusal." Elara felt something loosen in her chest. "So this is standard?" "Standard for us," Hale said. "Not for them." A silence settled, not awkward, just human. "The Compact will ask questions," Elara said. "They already are," Hale replied. "They'll issue statements. Committees will form. They'll pretend this outcome was inevitable." "And humanity?" Hale's expression hardened slightly. "Humanity will log the response time. The threats made." The silence. Elara nodded. "That matters." "It does," Hale agreed. "Patterns matter." The channel cut gently, without ceremony. Hours passed. Astra's fall stabilized. Trade lanes reopened. Emergency crews worked through the night. No speeches were made. No banners unfurled. Survival did not require pageantry. At dawn, Elara returned to the observation deck. The Retribution was still there, casting a long shadow against the starfield. Reyes joined her again. "They're leaving soon." "I know." As if on cue, the warship's engines brightened, space around it bending subtly as systems spun up. No farewell broadcast followed. No salute. Just departure. The ship slipped backward into the void, fracture lines sealing behind it, leaving the stars unchanged but the meaning of them altered. Reyes exhaled. They didn't even wait for thanks. Elara watched the last distortion fade. They didn't come for gratitude. Below them, Astra's fall turned back toward life. Repairs would take months. Trust would take longer. The Valkyr would remember this system not as a conquest denied, but as a lesson delivered. And somewhere beyond the mapped lanes, humanity returned to its quiet watch. Not everywhere. Not always. But enough.